Welcome, friends, to Video Game Expertise, and I'm the video game expert. And today we'll be delving into the secrets of Microsoft. Did they really have more than one console? Nope, and you're going to find out why. You might be saying to yourself, why are you talking about Microsoft? They don't make video games. Well, they did make some video games, and that's where we're going to dig in. You may know them from the 80s. They made computers. They did a great job. They invented the computer back in the 80s. They, under the leadership of Bill Gates, they developed it. This is not really what this show is about, but we'll mention it to give the background. So, they're making money. They're thinking, well, how can we make even more money? They see the rise of video games. Perfectly reasonable. They developed, amazing computer stuff, spreadsheets and documents. They invented operating systems and, monitors and all that stuff. They helped out a lot of, companies back in the 80s and 90s that were, starting out. They brought them into their fold and, folded them up into them and helped them to succeed. So why not? Why not try video games? Boy, was that a mistake. First of all, they decide, instead of coming out with a video game system, why don't we take a computer and put it inside of a console box, and pretend it's a video game? No. Okay, that's not how it works. Video games come out on a console or a handheld. You can't just shove a computer in a console and say it's a console. That doesn't count. So they take, a computer and they shove it in, they call it the Xbox. Named, by the way, by that little X in the corner of computers, not video games. Video games don't need X buttons to close out their, things. Point is, they've got, this thing out there called the Xbox. We'll talk about the controllers and things like that because they're dangerous and cause trouble. But nobody buys this. Nobody cares about this. It just goes away. But then they say, okay, well, what if we actually made a video game system? Hence the Xbox 360. Why is it called the 360 and not the Xbox 2? Well, the first one wasn't a video game system. 360 is one. I guess that makes sense. Now, we know that the Xbox 360 contained dangerous chemicals and radioactive substances. Hence the red ring of death thing. It caused radiation and, some people died. But that's beside the point. Was it a good video game system? That's what we really want to get into. And it had some good games, right? It was a video game system. Success. You succeeded. Okay? I can't talk to the quality of the games. We'll talk about that later. They put out a lot of sports games like Halo, Modern Warfare and Guardians of the Galaxy and whatever they're called. But nonetheless, it was video games. Then they go, hey, let's try this console in a box thing. Computer in a box thing again. So they take the computer, put it in a box, and they call it the Xbox One. Wait a minute, there already was an Xbox One. Oh, because you're saying it's a computer again. Well, people have not, I hope they're not falling for it, but they are trying very hard to trick people into this thing. And I'm sorry, but those are, Excel, PowerPoint, Word, they're great applications, but video games, they are not. You can go into an Excel spreadsheet, you can punch numbers, great, might be a little fun, do some highlighting, bold. That's not a video game, okay? And they keep coming out with this crap. It just isn't going to work. And now, and I don't know how many iterations of this thing they have since then. Not video games, What happened to making video games? They fixed things with the Xbox 360. They got on track with actual video games, and then they went down the hole with this computer nonsense. Computer games are not video games. I don't know how many times we got to say this. So that's kind of the history of Microsoft. They were doing great work, and then they just kind of, not, they went nuts. And, I attribute this to that Ballmer guy. He was talking about developers, developers, developers. Video games are made by programmers. Developers, this is, a nonsense term that shouldn't even be used. We don't want computers, okay? We'll use our mouse and, download our PowerPoints and our spreadsheets. That's all well and good, but leave it out of the video game industry. Next time on Video Game Expertise, Quirk and Quirda. Stay tuned.